My first heartbreak was my startup. I always wanted to build something big, something useful. And that's why I started organizing events during high school with my brother. We really had a momentum. Thousands of people came, then we organized a full-on festival. And for a while, I really felt successful. I was young, I was popular, I had this momentum going. But then, after a while, the momentum just started to fade. People stopped coming. And that one that gave me purpose for a while, it was just gone. So I had to rethink myself. And that was my first time when I realized that I'm building something that fails. And I didn't know that it will be not the last one. So during university, I met some new friends. We started a startup. We raised millions of euros in investment, and it really got swept up. We were growing. I was working hard. I was sacrificing my weekends, my time, love, and even friendships. I was really wanted to make sure that it will be successful. Even when I had some doubts deep inside, I kept going. Not because it made sense, but because I wanted to build something big. Until life stepped in. I had to stop. Not because I wanted to stop, because of the circumstances. And that's why it felt like a failure. This time, it was the hardest one. I had to stop something what was part of my identity. I decided to move away from startups and move into something more stable, to big tech or diplomacy. I got the opportunity to move to the US. I was at Google in the Silicon Valley. Then I got a scholarship to kick off my diplomatic career in Washington, D.C. Everything just started to look like good again. But life doesn't care about your plans. My scholarship was canceled because of COVID. And this time, I was back at square one again, feeling the familiar emptiness to start. I was wondering how many times someone can renew. It was 4 times so far, before I was even 24. This time, I didn't have a plan. All I wanted to do is just go back home, plant tomatoes in my garden. So that was what I was doing. And after a while, when I got bored of gardening, I decided to finish university as a side gig. And even that I cannot tell the fancy college dropout startup founder story anymore, at least I can make my grandma proud. So it was the last night before my final exam. I was doing what no one should do before the finals. I was scrolling on my phone. And then something stopped me. A headline. Food waste is the dumbest problem on the earth. But why? Millions of portions of food is wasted every day. And not because it's spoiled, but because no one claimed them. It's a logistical problem. The food is there. People want the food, but the system isn't built to connect them. Anyway, I forced myself through my last exam on the next day, barely. Then I headed back home, and I started working on my startup idea. I locked the door of my room, and I was working day and night. And the first prototype of Munch was born. Then I met with my co-founders at a university event, and we formed a group. We built a platform where people can claim delicious surplus food from restaurants and food businesses while doing something good for the environment and also saving some money. So this happened 5 years ago. Since then, we built this tool with more than 5 million food-saving heroes in 4 countries. Ironically, life just started to fall into place when I didn't have a plan. And this is what I learned. Transitions are upgrades in disguise. When you are between relationships, that's the best time to work on yourself and arrive as a better person to the next one. When you are between jobs, it's the best time to elevate your skills and ambition level. These are the transitions where it can seem like a failure, but they are just the door for your next success, maybe. If you just let go of your plans, life can surprise you in a positive way. Maybe plans are not meant to be followed, but something to let go of. And then things can just go in a very positive way. But you don't always have to wait for a failure to renew yourself. You can just elevate even when things are doing good. And that's why we started something bold, something new, something unique, and starting from scratch again after 5 years. Now let me ask you first, what is common between a Christmas lunch, a dinner with your grandma, or a brunch with your best friend? These are rituals, ceremonies, built around not just people, but food. Food is one of the most ancient form of bonding. This is how we are showing our compassion, our love. This is how we care. We were sharing meals before we shared stories. And everything that it brings with it. Watch two people in love. On the first date, they are just picking their plates in a very awkward way. But then they are swapping their desserts. And then they are maybe cutting the best bites and sharing with the lover. And at the end, they are maybe feeding each other erotically with a fork. This is how we show our care. So, as you can see, food is my cause. And our new venture is also built on the love of food. The more we worked on Munch, the more we realized it's not just a tool to save food, but it's a community of millions of people. And that's why we started Munch Club. Munch Club is a membership where we are rewarding saving food even more, but we are also providing 1+1 deals from nearby restaurants. And what we do is giving memories, giving experiences, in-person dining experiences for our food-saving heroes. But not from ghost kitchens and delivery apps that just puts your food on your doorstep, but real in-person restaurants in your neighborhood. Maybe eating is one of the last non-AI human experiences, and no algorithm can do that for us. And everything I do is built on the love of food. Not just stop the food waste, but also celebrating it. And you might wondering, what is your cause? You don't need to find the next big app idea, but you need to find something what you care about, what you are willing to fight for. And then if you pick your mountain, you can start climbing. And don't worry, you will have your ups and downs, because success is never a straight line. But celebrate your failures, because the best things in life often arrive dressed as a disaster. Thank you.